What's up, guys? Fan 101 here, and I didn't take long. This is my Takeover Orlando review. And you know what? I'm just gonna jump right into this bitch. The show was adequate. No, I'm kidding. The show was great. Uh, no. The show was actually pretty freaking fun. It was a hell of a lot of fun. The show was better than WrestleMania, despite that WrestleMania had like 2,000 matches on it. The show was still better. Even had the best match of all weekend. Well, maybe not. Probably that probably might have to go to the Hardys and the Young Bucks when I eventually get to that match. But yeah, I'll get to it. But yeah, Takeover Orlando. This was a pretty kick-ass show. Takeover Orlando. It started out SAnitY, which was Eric Young, Alexander Wolf, Killian Dane, and Nikki Cross against what was supposed to be the team of Ty Dillinger, Roderick Strong, No Way Jose, and Ruby Riot. Now, what happened is on the pre-show, for whatever reason, No Way Jose was dancing out to the ring because he's an idiot for going out to the ring before his own match. SAnitY decided to take him out, and with steel steps and a hand injury. I still have no idea whether or not that was a real injury or not. But if it was a real injury, I would have heard about it. So I think the fact that No Way Jose had been gone for 2 months, I think was just nothing but good selling. But instead they had instead of No Way Jose, they got a replacement. The replacement, Kassius Ohno, who just a few weeks before this, or about a month before this, made his return to NXT. Kassius Ohno, for those of you who don't know, is the former Chris Hero. He was in NXT, FCW. He was in FCW for a year, and then he was in NXT for a little over a year, and then they let him go because apparently his weight got out of control, which I find is bullshit. Because when you watch the last match he was in before he left NXT in late 2013, when you watch it, the guy is not big. He is tall. His body is shaped kind of weirdly, you could say, but he's not fat. His weight did not go out of control, which it was confirmed when I watched AJ Styles and Chris Hero have some matches after Styles left TNA, and they had some matches on the Independents. They had matches in Ring of Honor. So the fact that Chris Hero was let go because he was fat was just complete bullshit. It was just stupid on their part to even let him go in the first place. And now his weight actually is noticeable. The fact that they constantly have him wearing a jersey over his physique because they don't want people to notice that he's fat. But even with that said, I like the fact that Kassius Ohno was on a Takeover show. This is actually Kassius Ohno's first ever Takeover show. Hang on a second. I think I hear something. It must be the cat. Oh, bitch. Yeah, it was nothing, guys. It was just the cat being a little thieving bitch. Anyways, the match itself, the 8-man or 6-man and 2-woman tag team match, was actually pretty fun. I had fun with this match. They started off at a House of Fire. It was actually pretty good. And this match really delivered. It wasn't like a great match. It was good enough that it wouldn't overshadow anything else. If I recall, SAnitY got the win. I think Eric Young, or maybe it was no, it was Killian Dane. He got the I don't remember what they call it. I just call it the one-winged angel because they gave Killian Dane Kenny Omega's move. So and he used the one-winged angel on Ty Dillinger. It did bother me a little bit that Ty Dillinger got the pin here, why not pin Ruby Riot or Roderick Strong or Kassius Ohno? I understand why they wouldn't want to pin Ohno. He just came back. But why not? And Ruby Riot did recently make her debut, so I guess the only other person who could have been pinned was Roderick Strong. I guess it did bother me, but it did make sense why Dillinger lost here, because they wanted to give him his last big match with him winning at the end before heading up to the main roster. It was a pretty good opening match, and go check it out. The next match was not as good, but it was just as important. It was Andrade and Almas versus the debuting Aleister Black. For those of you who don't know, Aleister Black is the former Tommy End, who was also another UK wrestler, I believe. I first got a look at Tommy End back in 2015 when he wrestled a match against AJ Styles, and Tommy End, he held his own up there with AJ Styles. It was actually a great match. So, and everything about Aleister Black looks great. His entrance, his theme music, how he carries himself. Not to mention the fact that Aleister Black is a pretty freaking good wrestler. They had about 9 minutes to work, and it was only like a solid match. But it was meant, and Almas did get a little bit of offense in, quite a bit at times. But the important thing was Black. It was a good match, and Black got the win. If they had him jobbing out to Almas in the first match, then I would have considered him dead on arrival. Thankfully, that did not happen. A great match. He won with basically his version of the Mick kick, which he calls it. He doesn't call it the end of the world. No, that's I think that's the no, end of days is Baron Corbin's movie. He doesn't call it that. He calls it the Black Mass, which is again pretty awesome. After that match came the best match of the night and the best match of the WWE weekend, not the whole WrestleMania weekend, just WWE, which was the Authors of Pain defending the NXT Tag Team titles against in an elimination triple threat tag team match against DIY and the Revival. I was surprised the Revival didn't make their main roster debut. Apparently they wanted to put over Authors of Pain, or they did put Authors of Pain on the way out. This match, however, was pretty friggin' kick-ass. This was a great match, best match all weekend, comparing Takeover, WrestleMania, and even Raw after WrestleMania. So yeah, it was just a great match. Again, much like the Revival DIY match from Takeover Toronto, I can't call every single great moment on here because there was a lot of them. What is noted is that these guys went freaking almost 25 minutes. They went like a minute and like 10 seconds shy, like a minute and 30 seconds shy of 25 minutes. I would say they had the longest match of the night until Bobby Roode and Nakamura happened. But this match was just as great. It was just as great, and that's all I really have to say. It was just amazing. Authors of Pain. Well, there was actually a few good spots. I'll try to remember all the spots. One of them. Now, granted, and throughout the match, DIY and Revival, why they were attacking each other? Their big point of contention was the Authors of Pain, basically saying if we don't take out the Authors of Pain, neither of us are going to win. That's what they told each other. Yeah, they turned on each other on occasions here and there, but for the most part, they were teaming together, which is really weird to think about. As just a few months earlier, these guys were the deadliest of enemies. They wanted to murder each other. There was a table spot where DIY tried to give one of the members of the Authors of Pain, I think it was Asuka, a power bomb through the table outside, and the Revival came in and helped. They didn't like put him in powerbomb position, but they knocked him off the apron, allowing one of the members of the Authors of Pain to go through the table. And they teamed up on the other member. And what I love this spot afterwards. So I forget his finishing move. But the Scott Dawson got one of the Authors of Pain members in a leg lock. I forget. Here, let me take a look. It wasn't a figure 4 leg lock. I know that much. It was. It wasn't the leg lock. It's the move that TJ Perkins uses. I honestly forget what it is. But anyways, he got him in a leg lock, and then like of course on instincts you think, okay, break up the submission hold on so you can save the titles. Johnny Gargano was about to do that. Dash Wilder was like, please stop, and then he thought better, and instead Gargano hit the oh, idiot, it was a knee bar. He had him in a knee bar. They just call it a knee bar. He had him in a knee bar, and then Gargano, as I said, put him in the Gargano escape, the crossface, and while it was a great moment because while Ciampa and Wilder were basically cheering him on, they noticed the other member of Authors of Pain getting up from his table powerbomb earlier, and they went to try to block him to make sure that his partner eventually would tap out. That didn't work, as that member, I believe that was Akam. He basically completely he pushed them into the guys who were doing the submission hold. It was a great moment. Eventually, they got the upper hand though, and there was teaming here and there. There was another great moment where Gargano and Scott Dawson did the running knee super kick combo. Tommaso Ciampa and Dash Wilder did the Shatter Machine. Both of them two of them, I think it was Wilder and Gargano, did the running suicide dive. Eventually, it was all for naught though, because about 20 minutes into the match, Ciampa got hit with the last chapter, and they got pinned. So for the few minutes in there, the Revival were ironically enough a face tag team just for a few minutes there, going up against the Authors of Pain. They felt like a face tag team, like the crowd, I think, was cheering them on, and they tried their best. With European uppercuts into German suplexes. Again, it was all for naught. One of them got shoved outside. No, they didn't get shoved outside. They got hit. The Revival did with the double powerbomb move, and then the Super Collider. They got hit with the Super Collider. And then I believe got hit with the last chapter, and 1, 2, 3, Akam and Rezard successfully retained the titles in what was a fucking awesome match. Check this match out; it was pretty kick-ass. Best match of the night by far. Again, women's match went after it, and yet again they had a really good match, but just not as good as the offers of the tag team match. This is the third show in a row that actually happened. Maybe fourth, because that may have also happened at Takeover Brooklyn last year. Takeover Brooklyn 2. So yeah, Asuka defended the NXT Women's Championship. And by the way, this was also the show where they turned in the old NXT tag team belts and they got new ones, which some people are wondering, oh, it's weird. Why did they just change it? Well, first of all, it was the new era of NXT. Pretty much all the members of the old era was gone at that point. That started up NXT, and yeah. But another reason I gotta say, and this is me personally. Apparently they only. I'm looking up the results here, and they only got the Super Collider. No last chapter to either member of the Revival. But anyway, great match. But yeah, but they turned in their tag team belts, and I just have to, and I'm just thinking, like, they got new tag team belts not long after Paige's nudes leaked, and on one of the nudes, Paige had God, what's his name? Brad Maddox spill his seed onto the NXT women's title belt, which was a defamation of WWE property, as well as just plain out gross to all the other women. I mean, think about it. They're like champions like Charlotte and Sasha Banks. They freaking kissed that belt, probably having absolutely no idea what was on it. And that was something. So I just find it funny how they get new belts not long after Paige's nudes leaked, and apparently they were completely defamated on. So that sucks for Sasha and Charlotte and Bayley and Asuka, who all held that belt after Paige did. That have touched that thing. It's kind of like with Shawn Michaels and the Winged Eagle belt when he posed nude for Playgirl and he posed with the belt. You just know that belt is never going to look the same ever again. It's just the people no matter how many times it's washed, no matter how many times it gets washed, people will think Shawn Michaels was once on this belt. That is disturbing. It'll never come off. God, that really is disturbing, isn't it? But that's what I'm saying. I'm sorry I went off on this tangent, but I just find it funny that happened. Anyway, the match itself, pretty good match. And another thing I gotta say, I'm glad they changed the belt, because the NXT Women's Championship, even though it was not the fucking the Butterfly Divas Championship belt, thank God it wasn't that. It was still purplish and pinkish, and it was still girly. Had a little bit of glitter on it. It was still girly. It was still pretty much a girly match. Of course, the girly match. The women in it. It was still pretty much a girly looking belt. So I'm glad they got a belt that looked a lot like the NXT title belt. It looked like a top belt. It didn't look like, oh, it's the women's belt. No, it looked like a regular championship. Match themselves between Asuka and Ember Moon, really good match here. I was expecting more, but they only got like 12 and a half minutes. I'm just thinking if they got like 5 or 6 more minutes, they would have knocked the match. They would have knocked it right out of the frickin' park. Third great match of the night. But even if that didn't happen, they still had a really good match, and they had a lot of, not a lot of buzz, so to speak, but the crowd was behind it. They were a little bit tired out, admittedly, by the tag team match, because they were all into that shit, just like they were at Toronto. But they still had a really good match here. And this is right around the time when I'd say Asuka pretty much turned heel. She kept on playing around she was basically a hardcore babyface for much of her run. And then when the feud with Ember Moon happened, she basically started a slow heel turn. For some weeks she still acts awesome, but she has a slow heel turn to her. And the end of this match pretty much confirmed it. There was a really good action. Ember Moon was really good here. at one point did the front suplex from the top turnbuckle, was gonna go for the top rope stunner. I honestly forget the name of the move at the moment. And it was the Eclipse. She went for the Eclipse, but Asuka pushed the referee into the ring ropes, causing Ember Moon to fall off the turnbuckle into the ring. And when she got on her knees, Asuka kicked her head right off her body. And 1, 2, 3, Asuka is retained the title. I thought for sure Ember Moon was going to win this match, but even with that said, it was still a really good match. I think they're building to Ember Moon winning the title at Takeover Brooklyn, although that could be just me. But this match, that was really the start of the. Because think about it, what Asuka did was a heel move. She didn't go onto the ropes and shake it. No, she pushed She pushed a referee into the rope. Something that usually heels do. Faces normally don't do that. You only do that when you're a heel, and this was basically the beginning of Asuka's slow heel turn, which of course led to her interrupting the women's battle royal several weeks later, attacking Ember Moon, Nikki Cross, and Ruby Riot, and actually injuring Ember Moon. She was so happy to hear that. Yeah, this was a really good match. I just got to say that. After this was Bobby Roode defending the NXT title against Shinsuke Nakamura. This ended up being Nakamura's last Takeover match. Or not only his last Takeover match, his last match in NXT. And he would show up that week on SmackDown. His debut. But this was a really good match. This was better than the last 2 Takeover matches that Nakamura had, and was on par with the match with Joe at last year's Takeover Brooklyn event. This was a really good match. A great match. And it was a slow-paced match. And some people are wondering, and some people did shit on it a little bit because it was slow-paced and it was too slow for them. Personally, I love the slow pace. I mean, think about it. We had 2 fast-paced matches in the tag team title match and the women's title match. You needed a little bit more of a slower pace here. It made sense. So, the match itself, really good. Both of them were really good. Roode at several points tried to work on the knee, which he eventually got to, although in the beginning Nakamura was like, nope, screw you. Roode, again, it was just nice technical wrestling, not really any high moves. But Roode, he got him. He got Nakamura. He pinned Nakamura after 2 glorious DDTs, which they both like. I think the first glorious DDT looked like hell. And the second one looked bad, but not bad as in it was botched, but bad as in oh man, that looked like it hurt. The first one though, it must have been Nakamura, because this doesn't happen too much with other guys. But my throat's giving out a little bit. I better stop after this one. But yeah, this match here was great. Nakamura hit 2 glorious DDTs. It was they both looked brutal. Looked like he killed Nakamura. And Bobby Roode left WrestleMania weekend with the new NXT championship belt and retained his title. So yeah, go Roode, because that was awesome. Great show overall. Better than WrestleMania. Definitely a notch up on the match on the show from San Antonio. So with that said, guys, great show. Check it out. Yep, definitely stopping after this. Check it out. And you'll have a blast. Be well. Stay safe. Have a good day. And look out for my Takeover Chicago review, which when that happens, I will be caught up on my NXT Takeover reviews. Until next time, guys. Later. and peace.